Good evening guys, and welcome back to Big Jobs Barbecue. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make our competition style cherry ribs. So what we've got here is a nice full rack belly ribs. What we're going to do is we're going to cut them into what's called a St. Louis cut. And a St. Louis cut is essentially taking these rib tips off and leaving a nice straight line at the top and making them nice and even. So what we're going to do first of all is we're just going to square these up at the end. Because they're a competition style, we're going to want them nice and straight at the edge. So we wouldn't do this with a normal rack of ribs, because for home cooking these are perfectly good ribs to have. But what you don't want when you're doing a competition style rib is small little ribs like these ones at the end. So we're just going to cut those off. Nice and square. Now we're just going to take our knife and we're going to follow that line of ribs just along there. So what we're also going to do is take off these extra bits of fat. Again, wouldn't do this on a normal rib cook, but because these are competition style ribs, you want them to be as best as they can be. Take these off. So sometimes I would also take these small bits off at the end, but what I like to do is just leave an extra rib on either side, so if they do get burnt up and they do become not the perfect rib, you can just cut them off at the end. So next step is to take this membrane off. So a lot of people will leave these membranes on. I find is that if you leave this on, they're quite chewy. So all you want to do is just put your spoon underneath and then put your thumb in and just push your finger underneath gently all the way through. Sometimes they break, but sometimes they don't, and go all the way through. So then once you're all the way through, you just pull your finger to the end, and again pull your hand to the end. Just make sure you get all of that off. So if you've got a few tough bits at the end, you can get some tissue and just pull those off. You don't always need to do this, but it's better to use tissue because it gives you a nice dry surface for it to hold on to the membrane. So again, because these are competition style ribs, square up some of this meat that's on the top here. Again, you wouldn't do this if it's a home style cook or a backyard cook. It's only really for competition style, so they're nice and square. There's nothing hanging off. You want each bite to be as perfect as you can. So, there you go. So you can see here there's a little bit at the top here that's sticking out, so I'm just going to cut those off. So they're nice and squared up. So these bits here, there's nothing wrong with these bits of meat. So these rib tips are perfectly good as they are, perfectly good to eat, so I'll smoke those as well. So now what we're going to do is, because these are competition style ribs, you want to pack as much flavour into each rib as you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in a bath of pineapple juice overnight. So move this to one side, and what I use is a nice big pot and get myself some pineapple juice and pour that in. So some of you might notice that this is pineapple and coconut juice. Perfectly good to use as well. I normally use pineapple juice, but they weren't available, and for a competition I would normally use pineapple juice. For now, we're using pineapple and coconut. I've only got one rack of ribs in here. Normally I would do this for at least 3-4 packs of ribs, but all you want to do is make sure that that top of that rib is covered with the juice. You don't have to do it with all pineapple juice. You can add a little bit of water if you want to. So as you can see, that rib is fully submerged in the pineapple. What we'll do now is we'll take this, put it in the fridge, take these parts, we'll wrap them in foil and we'll put them back in the fridge to be cooked tomorrow along with these. Okay guys, so it's the next morning now. So what we're going to do is take these ribs out of the pineapple juice and show you what they look like. So as you can see, they've been tenderized overnight, and that's why we keep them in the pineapple juice. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to pat them dry. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want them as dry as possible. Okay. Now what we're going to do is going to add our binder, American style mustard. So you don't have to use this, guys. I find that if you use it, it just gives you a better surface for your rubs to stick to. You can't taste it at the final cook. It's nothing in terms of flavour or colouring. So what we're going to be using today is our Jack and Cola rub. We'll get quite a bit on there. Okay, so we've got a pat in. So you can already see that that's started to liquefy, which is exactly what you want. Put it to the other side. Okay, give that a little pat. And the second rub that we use for colouring and flavour is our Firefly Cherry Competition rub. Get quite a lot on there. Pat down. Just make sure it sticks. Turn it over. Get the other side. And make sure every last bit is covered. Pat that in. I'm just going to make sure we get the ends as well. Just give it a rub. Okay, we're going to leave that now to sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the rub sink in, and we'll bring you back when it's ready to go on the barbecue. So it's been 10-15 minutes now, guys. So as you can see, the rub's set nicely, and they're ready to go on the smoker. Take these, put them on our smoker, and we're going to leave them there for 6 hours. So what we're going to do is after every hour we're going to come back and we're going to spritz them with more pineapple juice. Okay guys, so we're back after an hour now, so we're just going to take a look and see what the ribs look like. So what we're going to do first is on these ribs we're going to add a little bit more seasoning. Hi guys, so we're about 2 hours in now, so let's take a look. There's our Cherry Competition ribs. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just give them another quick spritz, and in about half an hour or so they'll be ready to wrap. So these have been on for almost 3 hours now. They look great, so we're going to take these over to our counter to wrap. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the process of wrapping our ribs. I'm just going to move them to one side. So what we're going to start with is a nice little layer of honey. And then some brown sugar, some more of the Jack and Cola rub. Oh, it's windy today. And then we're going to add a couple of sticks of butter. Turn these over. We'll add a couple more sticks of butter to the back. And then what we're going to do is add some pineapple juice. A bit underneath too. Last step, I'm just going to add a little bit of our cherry competition sauce. So that needs, so you want to get them as tight as possible. Without breaking the foil. Right, and then ready to go back on the smoker. Right guys, so we're about 5.5 hours in now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the ribs and just see how they're looking. So what we're looking for here, in terms of doneness, is that they're pull apart. Ah, okay. They're a little bit too pull apart. So what we're going to do now is going to fold these over. Make a little boat. Turn these over. What we're going to do, we're going to take some of our cherry competition sauce. Take a little bit of brush, brush those, and a nice coating. Okay, and then leave them on there to set. Okay guys, so these are the finished ribs. As you can see, they're not the best ribs in the world. They look nice and they're going to taste lovely, but they're a little bit too full off the bone for what I would like. For a competition style, this would be an absolute fail, but it's worth posting anyway, just to show that sometimes this does happen and they get a little bit too fall apart. They're going to taste fantastic. I'll take the end rib here, give it a try. Oh, flavour, unreal. But again, too full off the bone for my liking. Thanks guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.